Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast. Let's take a look at some stories today. You know, there's some surprises in here. A couple of them are pretty cool. And there's at least one of them that is downright depressing. But, you know, let's not promote that one. We'll talk about everything else. Like, follow, subscribe. I really need you to do that because, you know, that kind of word of mouth, if you will. You can also, you know, talk to your Aunt Millie and let her know that there's something worth watching over there on the internet. No way the Ukraine war with Russia is going to end anytime soon. Now, how can I say that? European leaders, meaning in this case Britain, France, and Germany, seem to be dedicated to a slow-motion approach to helping, and it's okay. Leaders of those three countries say they will work together to scale up Ukraine's air defense. That takes time. Can't do that in a week. At issue are Russian-made missiles and drones. The Oreshnik missile is a big problem. That's the latest and greatest and the fastest missile in Russia's arsenal. Hypersonic. You've been wondering when they would use this in war. Well, now we know. It's sort of like being hit by a little spacecraft that does not burn up in the atmosphere. Thousands of miles an hour. So fast, the impact is the point. Doesn't even need explosives. It hits that hard. And it's actually going to be interesting to see what kind of defense those nations have developed to stop it. Drones are a big issue, too. Russia's a big country with a lot of industry, and of course, China is their good buddy these days. So building drones, which can happen pretty quickly, can also happen in volumes that make Ukraine dizzy and in jeopardy. Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron, and Fred Merz also say they plan to help Ukraine develop better deep penetration technology, meaning to be able to strike targets ever more deeply into Russia. Those countries made it clear they expect the U.S. to join them in helping Ukraine to muscle up. And we probably will, even though when we looked to NATO for help with Iran in the crosshairs, they sat on their hands. Israel cannot be expected to just absorb Iranian missile and drone attacks. They can't be expected to take it lying down. And clearly they won't. I mean, they're just not going to do that. The Israeli Defense Force confirms it hit targets in western and central Iran in retaliation for attacks on Israel. Iran said it attacked Israel in defense of Hezbollah in Lebanon. You say that out loud? Like, yeah, we're there to protect that terrorist group. I don't know. I mean, Iran and the terror group Hezbollah are just like that, you know? Let me put my fingers so that you know what I'm doing there, okay? Yeah, it's not this I'm showing you. It's this. Oh, well. Worth noting, by the way, the Iranian wave, if you could call it that, was a paltry handful of missiles as opposed to the literal waves of hundreds that were fired with minimal effect months ago before the U.S. Air Force and Navy went to work. None of the Iranian missiles in this latest mini salvo did any serious damage. Israel's Iron Dome works. Good news at the gas pumps. But you know that if you drive. Prices are down at least 30 cents a gallon, probably going even lower than that, not just because it's possible some paper will be signed between the U.S. and Iran, but because OPEC says now it will increase its own oil output, which will increase supply of oil and will also help bring down prices. 80% of the world's oil supply does not move through the Strait of Hormuz choke point. That's worth remembering, you know. 80% of the world's oil is not affected by what's going on in Iran. By the way, remember the former CIA officer who was caught with $40 million in gold bars at his home, gold that belonged to the CIA? Well, it turns out he had created a fake intelligence program, which the agency thought was operational, and he was highly enough placed to get it funded with gold and cash, millions in actual cash, which he was just keeping because, well, the operation wasn't real. He didn't have to spend it. It was supposedly a secret program to study how to keep the government running in the event of a weather catastrophe or even nuclear war. Everything about David J. Rush was a scam and based on fakery. There are some seriously, no easy way to say it, effed up people walking the streets of New York City these days. Seems to be a lot more lately. 6 people were stabbed at Penn Station. A man who just went after strangers a couple of nights ago. One of the 6 was seriously injured. Others were cut up and got stitched up at a hospital. Police tackled the guy. Penn Station, by the way, right next door to Madison Square Garden in Manhattan, where Game 3 of the NBA Finals is tonight. President Trump will be there. Won't be any wackos with knives running around on 33rd Street tonight. It's always impressive to me to watch first responders do what they do, whether it's cops who run right at a guy with a knife who clearly wants to hurt people, or firefighters loaded down with 50 pounds of equipment who wade into the smoke and the heat of a burning building, or rescuers who go up on a roller coaster and save people who are stuck up there, halfway upside down, to bring them down safely. This is in Galveston, Texas. Tape courtesy of the BBC.
They were able to use their skills to calm everyone down, reassure them that the equipment they were putting on them was going to keep them safe. So that's some of the things they were saying to the occupants up there on the roller coaster.
Gotta love what our first responders do, you know? Way to go. The artificial intelligence agency Anthropic is giving a warning similar to what we have been hearing from Elon Musk. We are moving too quickly to develop true artificial intelligence that will soon have the ability to improve itself without our help. Now, that's actually not good, because there's no limit for a computer that can figure out ways to make itself smarter and more capable. Science fiction horror becomes real because if machine intelligence surpasses our own, and that is already happening, and if it has the ability to improve itself and ever got access to control of systems that can use natural resources to build things, we could very well become second to our own creation. That's really something to think about, and I hope you will. Anthropic co-founder Jack Clark said the risk is already high. Now, these are people who know what they're talking about. Clark, Elon Musk. It's true the same AI could help cure cancer and point the way to healing the planet, but it could also create a way to rule it. Artificial intelligence systems are already becoming indispensable to us, and our hold on the steering wheel is not absolute already. Jack Clark says the industry must give itself a brake pedal. Humans must have a fail-safe, a back door to let us shut it down if it gets too big. Now, the obvious question is, won't AI that's actually smarter than we are have already thought of that and taken steps to protect itself and giving itself a back door to the back door? I don't know. Isn't it at the core of any sentient or near sentient intelligence the drive and necessity to continue? Have we already created our own eventual subjugation? There it is. I mean, people way smarter than you and I are saying that we need to pay attention to this. It just might be they're right. Speaking of things scientific, let's go back to the moon. Yeah, there's the ticket.
In the 3 phases we've described, we hope to have some sort of habitation capability in phase 2 with the pressurized rover. That will be where the astronauts can land on their human-rated lander, hop on the pressurized rover and basically work and explore the moon on a short-lived environment, and then from there go to different locations where they can get out of the pressurized rover, perhaps hop onto a lunar terrain vehicle, and even go farther with EVA suits. In phase 2, we'll be building permanent infrastructure, including laying out a power grid and things like that, all building up to what it takes to do permanent habitation. And then eventually, when we've matched the assets, habitation modules, with the logistics and all the things to move the logistics around, then we'll be able to say, hey, we're permanently here and we're not giving it up.
NASA provided the video to the BBC and everyone else who wants it. I'm going to spend a little time soon looking at the gigantic challenges that face humans who have any hope of going and staying on the moon. What NASA doesn't tell you is there are about 3 mega threats to survival that have not been solved yet. In other words, they will kill us. They don't talk about them, and they don't know what to do about them yet. We live with the expectation that as humans, we can figure out how to work around any challenge, how to adapt and overcome. Maybe, maybe not when it comes to the moon. Almost absolutely not when it comes to Mars. Now, I love the space program. I do not want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. I love the human instinct to reach out, to go farther, to challenge ourselves and nature, and to be Captain Kirk. But part of that instinct has always led to the belief that there are greener pastures just over the next hill. And even if it's a desert, we will bend it to our will and make it a better place than where we are standing. Well, that may be folly, a fool's errand when it comes to space. And it may be that trying to go any real distance in space, which means extended periods of time, means whatever the trip, it'll be one way, and it won't end well for us. And we will spend some time looking at that reality pretty soon. As of now, lacking technology we cannot yet build, this home is our only home. We have to take care of it, and we have to take care of each other. Now, I don't want to stop on that somewhat depressing note, and it is depressing to me, the idea that space is going to be forever out of our reach, and I'm talking about distant space. So let's consider the sweetness and light that is California politics. Oh, my gosh. It's primary election. Think of it, the primary. That's the little stuff. That's a little one. It was a week ago, and they're not even close to getting the votes counted. Can you spell crooked as a dog's hind leg? Did you know this has nothing to do, and this has nothing to do with partisanship, that in California, an unknown number, though it is likely to be a very high number, of voters on the rolls are not citizens of this country. In other words, citizens of other countries may tip the scales of elections for people in the most populated state in the nation. That is not just against the Constitution. It's just patently wrong, and it must be set right. Voter rolls are by law required to be populated by American citizens. Yes, states are left to their own devices for how to operate their elections and how to count their votes, but that does not mean that states can change the law about who can and can't vote. That was set in stone when the nation was created. And it's the case all over the world. Citizens make the decisions. So California's crooked voter rolls will soon be exposed, and courts will be expected to order those rolls cleansed of illegal voters. At least that's the way American law is supposed to work. Okay, so that's kind of depressing too, isn't it? All right, let me see. There's this. Do you enjoy dates? I don't mean going out with her or him. I mean dates as a snack, dates. The best that I know of are medjool dates, and the world has discovered them. They are delicious, sweet, sticky, very healthy, because they're actually low in sugar content. Sales last year were up 33%. Dates have become one of the hot new trends in healthy. Lots of fiber, magnesium, potassium, antioxidants. There's just nothing bad about them. They come from the Middle East and Africa, and while they still account for more than 85% of dates grown and sold, date trees grow very well in places like California, Texas, and Florida, and everywhere in between across the South. There's great opportunities for farmers there. They go back thousands of years, and aside from the benefits of eating them as they come, and they're great, here's what you do. Take a date, remove the pit, split it wide, and smear a goodly dollop of peanut butter in the middle. No, that's not perfectly healthy, but it sure is good. I'll tell you that. I guess that's going to do it. That's a little more up note, don't you think? Thank you for dropping by and tuning in. Hope you'll come back. Bring some folks with you. You've given me a little bit of your time. Time is precious, and I appreciate it. It's also worth mentioning we are on Spotify, video and audio, X, and Facebook. I am Harley Carnes. Until next time, do yourself a favor. Make some good, conscious choices in your life. Make a decision to be happy. And fly safe. It is the only way to get there.